Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, Prime Minister Perry Christie again defends his stance on national health insurance. We'll bring you all the details, so stay tuned.
Addressing the global imbalance was the focus of Fidelity Bank's Business Economic Outlook today.
And the Medical Association weighs in on national health insurance. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
As the debate rages on over government's decision to implement national health insurance, Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie continues to defend its position. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Charisma Robinson. Prime Minister Christie says for far too long, Bahamians have suffered and ultimately died because they have been unable to receive adequate and necessary health care. The nation's leader talked to reporters after his address at the 25th Annual Business Outlook held this morning at Malia Nassau Beach Resort. Our Janelle Ferguson leads us off tonight.
Who wants to fight doctors?
Prime Minister Perry Christie addressing the business community at the 25th Annual Business Outlook. While there has been much criticism on the rollout of national health insurance, the nation's leader says he won't hold off.
We postponed it long enough. No, listen to me. We are going ahead.
The Prime Minister said the matter should not be tried in the media, although some in the medical community claim they have not been fully appraised of the details regarding NHI. The Prime Minister explained that when the draft bill is released, further input would be garnered.
If people have a different view and they feel that that view is not being heard by the people they're talking to, who are either colleagues of mine or people employed by us as consultants, then they have the Court of Appeal. I'm the president of the Court of Appeal. And they have my office. They speak to me. But why should we in the Bahamas be fighting over stupid things, right? Without at least saying we've given ourselves the opportunity to put the issues on the table and address the issues. I find it absolutely nonsensical.
The government has also come under heavy fire for preparing to establish a public insurer plan if there is not enough support from the insurance companies.
That is a default position. If a private insurer does not insure you, right, you have to have insurance. And in default, the default insurer picks you up.
And so this won't impact jobs in the...
No, it would not. It's not intended to impact jobs. Listen, what I'm saying is other countries have done this. I know people fight for their positions, they fight against change. They are suspicious about people, and sometimes when there's emotional language used, that emotional language is misinterpreted and misapplied as government policy, which is not.
Then there's the catastrophic fund to deal with dire medical situations during this first phase.
So this fund is an emergency fund that will be related to the diagnosis of the specialist and to be able to go into that fund to meet the cost of whatever the treatment is. And it is anticipated, well, I think they were talking about 24, 25 million in this period that we have. We have a period that goes into the next budget, all right? And so it's a question of when we reach the point where the primary care is introduced and where people are able to go to the doctors and do that. So, look, it'll be wrong. It'll be wrong given the commitment of my government to talk about delay and postponement.
Registration for NHI continues. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
The more than 400-member Medical Association of the Bahamas is now lending its voice to the national health insurance debate. The organization's president says while they support the initiative, there are still some things that need to be worked out. Cleopatra Murphy hears the views of officials from the consultant physician staff and Grand Bahama Medical and Dental Associations on the issue.
President of the Medical Association of the Bahamas, Dr. Wesley Francis, believes a toxic political environment and competing interests are preventing transparent and honest dialogue between government and medical professionals when it comes to national health insurance. Francis, who was surrounded by doctors at a press conference Thursday, says the body supports NHI as a means of making healthcare affordable for Bahamians, but for the plan to work, all stakeholders must be involved.
Insulting professionals or stakeholders is just wrong. And it diminishes who we are as Bahamians. Corporations cease to exist when people feel that their voice or input does not matter.
His comments come as the debate over NHI rages on after Minister for National Insurance, the Honorable Shane Gibson, said Monday that government would not be held hostage by doctors who place money over saving lives. Gibson was responding to comments from Physician Staff Association President Dr. Loxley Munro, who said association doctors felt their views were being ignored and would not sign on to NHI unless concerns are addressed. Francis says well-funded healthcare is long overdue, but the public must also be properly educated on NHI.
It is important that this plan be clearly communicated with realistic timelines and with all cost projections at each phase of its implementation. All stakeholders must work together with the government if this is going to work.
Francis says the public must be informed how NHI will be funded, and details of benefit packages must also be revealed. The Medical Association president is confident doctors will continue to seek common points of concern as they work to develop an optimal health system.
We understand that the concept of national health insurance rests on the belief that everyone should contribute to finance health care, and everyone should benefit. People who pay more than they benefit now are likely to benefit more than they pay 10 years down the road when they face an expensive health problem. We all will. The achievement of such a plan will depend on an honest discussion.
NHI will be rolled out in 5 phases, with Phase 1 strengthening already underway. Registration began on Monday, and the third phase, primary care, is set to begin in April. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Pastors from across the capital have met to discuss the high demand for national health insurance and ways to tackle the war on crime. Pastor Emeritus of the New Covenant Baptist Church, Bishop Simeon Hall, told reporters today the Christian community firmly supports the government's decision to implement NHI, but they're disappointed to hear that so many Bahamians are opposing the idea for personal gain or political mileage.
We believe that the Ministry of Health, simultaneously to introducing national health program, should encourage Bahamians to eat healthy. Now, if we do that, then we have to be concerned about the cost of basic food items. Another element on this line would be that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health should regulate. If it does not discontinue totally, then it should regulate the number of apparently unlicensed, unregulated persons who sell foodstuff around our schools.
The nation's leader also discussed crime at today's Business Outlook, informing attendees that government will soon roll out its new crime-fighting strategy to combat the crime across the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have one more meeting with the Commissioner of Police and my minister. And then I meet with the financial side of my ministry. I find it personally very unacceptable. The fear of crime is almost as pervasive as crime itself. It cannot be tolerated. I've indicated to the Commissioner my views. They are strong views. I've indicated the need for comprehensive assault on this matter. I've said I will skew the national budget to make it happen. I have begun to advise Bahamians your freedom will be interfered with because we are not going to allow this to continue.
Mr. Christie also said that government has rearranged the national budget to ensure the Ministry of National Security has all of the resources needed to win the war on crime. Additionally, he said government is exploring avenues to help more at-risk youth.
These people who kill are victims. Those who are killed are obviously victims. And the country is the biggest victim of all. And if we are going to have a life, we're going to have to be able to stop it and find a way to get our young people to understand why they must have a civilized approach to their own lives, and why it is important for mothers particularly to know that they are in a position, right, to do more, to stop from crying later, my poor son.
Well, the status of the multi-billion-dollar Bahamas project was also addressed by the Prime Minister today. He said while some might doubt his continued optimism about the resort's intended opening, he doesn't apologize for being hopeful, as he's leaving no stone unturned in ensuring that the stalled property will be realized.
I believe that I am very close to this. And like I say, I can only rely on some of you not believing I'm stupid to understand what I mean, but very close. And people will see it. People will see and be able to judge for themselves. But this is a development that has caused the Bahamas to be downgraded by Standard & Poor's. And thankfully, Moody has taken a wait-and-see attitude. Well, that's what's in the balance here, not politics, but being able to keep the pressure on, because Bahamians, contractors, are owed millions of dollars, and I want them paid dollar for dollar.
Now, the Prime Minister added that major players in the hotel industry are very interested in the property.
There's no circumstance under which the Bahamas government, led by me, will find acceptable undue delay in recommencing construction out here towards completion. Some of the world's leading companies have applied. Some here that will surprise people have applied to be involved. Saul Kerzner has come back with an equity fund to be involved. Mohegan Sun has come to be involved, a big single company, right? A lot of these people have put in bids. Major Chinese companies have put in bids.
The second annual Royal Fidelity Business Economic Outlook also officially opened this morning at the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort under the theme Think Inequality, Addressing the Global Imbalance. Fidelity Group of Companies Chairman and Chief Executive Officer says it was a wide range of articles that prompted discussion on the theme. He told those in attendance that it is time for economies to stop using the financial crisis as a crutch and seek realistic economic solutions to moving the worldwide financial sector forward.
In the post-crisis business period, many of us were living in a twilight zone, certain that challenges we faced were temporary blips in the system and that things would soon go back to the way they have always been. I doubt that's going to happen. So things have changed permanently. But it has become clear that we're now living in the post-crisis period, or the new normal, the dreaded phrase. What does that mean? It means that everything we thought we knew, or at least had become used to, has changed. In the new normal, it is not the big fish eating the small fish, it will be the fast fish eating the slow fish. So speed is going to be essential going forward.
The Fidelity Bank executive is of the view that the wave of innovative technology is also contributing to the economic gap. He highlighted the traveler's card, drone deliveries, robots, and demand taxes, and 3D printing as a few examples.
Technology has allowed those with financial resources or connections to leverage relatively small investments into dominating financial positions. Government policies designed to encourage innovation and investment end up acting as a multiplier to allow the haves to have more and increasing the income gap. For business people interested in planning ahead, we know that at least in the near future, technology will divide businesses into those industries where people can be replaced by computers, robots, or low-cost employees like financial and information services, and manufacturing, and those jobs where the human touch is absolutely necessary, like the hospitality industry, personal service, and entertainment.
After helping the less fortunate for many years, members of the Ambassador Corral International have been left displaced. I'll have the details coming up in the Bahamas tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by the new Pennzoil line of lubricants, available at all Shell service stations nationwide.